It was a brand new day in Glitter Down Woods, but despite the golden sunshine shining down through the treetops, not everyone was happy. "I'm hungry," complained Tiff the unicorn. "My belly is grumbling and mumbling. Oh, I could really do with something to eat." "Me too," added the unicorn's tiny flying friend, Rebecca. Rebecca was a fairy, and although her belly was much smaller than the unicorn's, she was feeling hungry as well. "There must be something we can eat nearby." They happened upon a squirrel scampering along a low tree branch. "Excuse me," asked Rebecca politely, "but do you have anything to eat that you could share?" "Oh, as a matter of fact, I do," said the squirrel cheerfully. "I've got a whole larder full of acorns in this tiny tree. Would you like some?" Rebecca the fairy and Tiff the unicorn shook their heads sadly. "Oh, we were hoping you might have something else," suggested Tiff. "Like pancakes?" "Or waffles," added Rebecca. "Sorry, just acorns," said the squirrel with a shrug of his shoulders. Seeing that his food would not be needed, he disappeared amongst the upper branches. A little further, the two friends came upon a goblin with a basket draped over her arm. "Excuse me," asked Rebecca politely, "but do you have anything to eat that you could share?" The goblin lifted her large nose towards them and said, "Oh, why, yes, I do. I've got a whole basket full of toadstools. Would you like some?" Rebecca the fairy and Tiff the unicorn shook their heads with disappointment. "Oh, we were hoping you might have something else," suggested Tiff. "Like buttered toast?" "Or porridge," added Rebecca. "Oh, sorry, just toadstools," said the goblin with a shrug of her shoulders. It was obvious that her food would not be needed, so she disappeared into a bramble bush. Further still, the hungry pair spied a blackbird on top of the trunk of a fallen tree. "Excuse me," asked Rebecca politely, "but do you have anything to eat that you could share?" The blackbird ruffled her wings and replied, "Oh, most certainly. Beneath this rotten tree trunk is a feast. Far too much for one blackbird to eat. Please help yourself as to however many snails, slugs, worms, and really insects you can eat." Once again, Rebecca the fairy and Tiff the unicorn shook their heads with disappointment. "Oh, we were hoping you might have something else," suggested Tiff. "Like a breakfast muffin." "Or a tasty pastry," added Rebecca. "Oh, I'm sorry, just snails and slugs and worms and really insects," said the blackbird with a shrug of her shoulders, before dropping down to the ground and plucking up a juicy millipede. Still hungry, the two friends walked on. It was beginning to look as if they were never going to find anything to eat. Then, from just up ahead, there was the sound of snoring, a deep, thunderous snoring of someone fast asleep. Creeping forward, Rebecca and Tiff peered around a tree to see that a large troll had built himself a small campsite in a clearing. The troll was lying down on a tatty blanket, snoozing away, while beside him a cooking pot full of soup bubbled gently over a fire. "Oh, that smells delicious," whined Tiff the unicorn quietly. "Oh, that soup would fill my belly up, make no mistake." "Oh, it really does smell good," admitted Rebecca. "Oh, it's such a shame that it belongs to a big horrible troll. I'm quite sure he wouldn't want to share it with us." I think you're right," agreed Tiff. "I've heard that trolls are mean and nasty and don't like to share." "He's fast asleep," said Rebecca. "There's more soup in that cooking pot than that big troll needs. So what if we just helped ourselves? Just a little." "Okay," nodded Tiff. "We'll only take a little. That way the troll won't even notice." They tiptoed up to the cooking pot and helped themselves to a small helping each. "Oh, that was lovely," whispered Rebecca. "I wish I could have some more." "Well, let's just have a tiny bit more," suggested Tiff. And so they did. But when that was all gone, Rebecca still found herself wanting more. Well, we'll have a tiny bit more and then that's it, said Tiff quietly. But they didn't have a tiny bit more. They were enjoying it so much that they ate every last drop of soup. Beside them, the troll began to stir, so the fairy and the unicorn dashed back behind the tree. "What have we done?" exclaimed Rebecca as loudly as she dared. "We ate all of the troll's soup, and now he has nothing left." "Well, I suppose he is a mean and nasty troll," said Tiff in a hushed voice. "So he probably deserved it." They watched as the troll yawned and stretched and scratched his armpits before shuffling over to the fire to inspect his cooking pot.
"Oh, my soup! My soup! I've been robbed!"
shouted the troll with alarm.
"Somebody's taken my soup!"
He clasped his head with his large troll hands. As his mouth turned downwards, his eyes began to stream with tears, and his belly gave a rumble that was almost as loud as his snoring. From behind the tree, Rebecca and Tiff watched with dismay. "Oh, what have we done?" hissed Rebecca. "Look how upset we've made this poor troll." He doesn't look very mean or nasty," admitted Tiff. "Just hungry, like we were a short time ago." The big troll fell onto his behind and sobbed.
"Oh, who would be so cruel as to steal my soup?"
Rebecca and Tiff couldn't bear to watch any longer, so they stepped out from behind the tree, their heads hanging low, and walked onto the campsite. It was us," said Rebecca bravely. "We were hungry, so we ate your soup. We're ever so sorry."
"But why did you eat all of it?"
sniffed the troll.
You could have left a little bit for me."
"Oh, but it tasted so good," said Tiff. "And we thought you'd be too mean and nasty to share."
"I'd have been happy to share,"
cried the troll.
"It's nice to eat with company."
Rebecca and Tiff realized that not only had they eaten all of the troll's soup, they had assumed he'd be horrible without bothering to get to know him. It turned out that he wasn't mean or nasty at all. "Oh, please don't cry," said Rebecca. "I know that we've done wrong, so please let us put it right. We'll make you a new pot of soup." The big troll stopped his sniffing and wiped his eyes with big hairy hands.
"Really? You do that?"
he asked. "Well, I think it's the least we can do," said Tiff the unicorn. "Tell us what the ingredients are and we'll go and gather them."
"Oh, very well,"
said the troll, brightening up.
"The first thing we'll need is half a cooking pot of water."
"Leave it to us," said Rebecca, as Tiff picked the cooking pot up by its long curved handle. "We'll be right back." They walked through the woods until they came upon a freshwater spring, bubbling through some rocks to make a small pool. Tiff dipped the pot into the water until it was half full, then with some effort lifted it out. "Ooh, that looks very heavy," said Rebecca as she watched the unicorn struggling. And it was heavy, but because Tiff was carrying it in her mouth, she couldn't reply. She staggered all the way back to the campsite with the weighty load until the troll was able to take it from her and set it carefully back upon the fire to begin heating up.
"Next, I'm going to need some wild onions,"
said the troll. "Leave that to us," said Rebecca cheerfully. The two headed off, searching for the telltale white flower that appeared above ground where wild onions grew. But when they found them, the wild onions were surrounded by prickly plants and stinging weeds. "I'll get them," suggested Rebecca. "I can fly over the prickles and weeds with my fairy wings. You wait here while I pull some up." Tiff watched as Rebecca glided over to the first of the white flowers standing upon a tall green stem. She took a grip in her tiny hands and pulled and pulled and pulled, beating her tiny wings furiously, until at last the wild onion beneath the ground popped out. But Rebecca was pulling so hard that when the onion came free, she tumbled backwards into the prickles and weeds. "Ouch!" she cried. "Are you all right?" called Tiff. "I'll be fine," groaned Rebecca, rubbing her sore spots. She looked at the small wild onion she'd pulled up and realized that she'd need many more for a large cooking pot of soup. So, taking a firm grip on another stem, she began to pull up another. By the time she was done, she was scratched, itchy, and sore, but she had the wild onions, so the pair of them returned to the campsite.
"Oh, good job,"
said the troll.
"I'll chop these up while you get the last ingredient. Plenty of nice field mushrooms."
"We'll be back before you know it," said Tiff.
"Here, take my basket," the troll said. "They'll be much easier to carry with that."
This time they headed for the edge of the wood, where a meadow grew, but beneath them and the mushrooms was a smelly bog of gloopy mud. "Oh, there's no point in you getting muddy," said Rebecca. "I'll fly across and pick up the mushrooms." The basket was heavy for a little fairy, but she made it across the bog and began to pick the filled mushrooms, filling the basket to its brim. "Excellent work," said Tiff cheerfully. "Head back over, then I'll carry the basket." But when Rebecca tried to lift the basket up, she could barely get it off the ground. She strained with all her might until at last she managed to get it a small distance into the air. Slowly, she made her way across the smelly bog towards Tiff. Unfortunately, her tiny wings weren't up to the job, and halfway across, the basket snagged on a grassy tussock, causing her to lose her grip and fall spiraling into the mud. "Rebecca!" yelled the unicorn and dived in after her. A few moments later, the pair of them were stood on the bog's edge, dripping with stinky mud, but safe. Luckily, the basket had been rescued from the grassy tussock too, so now Tiff picked it up by the handle, while Rebecca flopped out, exhausted on her friend's back. "Goodness me," said the troll as he saw them return. "You two are quite a sight." And they were too, tired and exhausted, scratched and stung, and covered in stinky, smelly mud. It had taken them much of the day, but at least they had done as they had promised. While they rested, the troll chopped up the filled mushrooms and dropped them into the bubbling pot, stirring the soup with a big wooden spoon.
"I think it's ready,"
he said happily after a while. "Oh, that's good," said Rebecca. "Then we'll leave you to enjoy it."
"You can't go,"
replied the troll in surprise.
"There's enough here for all of us."
"But," objected Tiff, "we were just helping to replace what we'd eaten. You can't go giving us more."
"But you work so hard,"
insisted the troll.
"You said you were sorry and you put everything right. And look at you. You work so hard that I'm quite sure you must be hungry again by now."
Rebecca rubbed her tiny belly. It does smell nice," she confessed.
"Then stay," insisted the troll. "My name's Eric, by the way."
And so they did. Not only was the soup as fantastic as before, it was now made even better to enjoy it with a brand new best friend. The end. So that you don't miss a single episode, just click that subscribe button.